Hello, everybody. Welcome off the rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
Yeah, we're working out this microphone thing. It's great when you're solo, but not so much when you're a co-host.
I'll just shout.
Perfect. What they suggest actually is that you get two microphones and they face away from each other, not sharing one.
Yeah. Why? Who wants to share?
Right. Nobody.
That's right. That's right. Only children. I'm looking at you.
Yes. I'm not one of them, so... But so welcome to this show. This is where we talk about comics in the past week, recap them, review them, let you know what we thought about them, and then give you recommendations of books that are coming out this week we think you should pick up. Also, this show is live normally. If you're catching it after the fact, welcome to the pre-recorded show. But if you're catching it live right now, guess what? You are an inadvertent sponsor of today's episode. All you gotta do to sponsor the show is use the super chats and make a question or comment. We'll read it here on the show. Proceeds go into the machine that is ComicPop, and we'll continue to make shows for you. And we don't even need that Audible Sandman sponsorship. Screw you, Audible.
What?
We didn't get the Audible sponsorship, unlike many of our compatriots, so to speak. Part of that was because the last time we got an Audible sponsorship was through an MCN.
Yeah.
And when we ditched all of them, we ditched all of the people through which those companies reach out. So we didn't get the Amazon sponsorship. What do you think of that?
No, that's cool. I mean, who here even likes Sandman?
Right? I know you do.
No,
Oh yeah, no, nobody. Just read it. Don't have Neil Gaiman's womany voice read it to you.
What? Don't be weird.
Whatever. But yeah, so let's jump into it. Today we're gonna be talking about a bunch of books. This is not the week. Like the week that everybody's looking for.
This is like one of those is it a fifth week? I haven't been paying attention. July has 31 days.
It is the end of July, so yeah.
Like,
yeah, I guess so.
Which is like funny because it's like that's usually when Plunge comes out, and it did.
Yeah.
By the way, it's good. I'm not going to talk about it because it's the second to last issue. Why would I ruin it?
Right. Not now, but you would recommend it.
I would.
That's
I
fair.
still do.
Nice.
Worms. It's my one-word review.
That's fair. I read a number of books, as did you. I guess we'll jump into them.
Did I? I like this. I feel like I'm on like Double Dare. Physical challenge.
You have to dare and double dare to get to the physical challenge.
Physical challenge.
Fine. Push.
Yay!
So I read that weekly series that everybody enjoys, Dceased: Hope at World's End. It's of course written by Tom Taylor, as is every single Dceased title, with this time art by Renato Guedes. This is fine. This is the only issue where I was like, no, I don't really care anymore. I'll pick up the next one because it's more interesting, but this one was like it more focused on ancillary characters. I mean, obviously all of them have to at this point, but like, you know, it was just more prep. It was, you know, people are trapped in a situation that they can't escape, so they need to do what they can to escape from it.
Right.
They don't because it's Dceased, you know. But we get to see Wonder Woman be heroic, which you don't really get to see much in Dceased, and now, of course, at Dceased 2, whatever the hell that one's called, the actual official sequel to Dceased, she is a straight-up antagonist, because, of course, they didn't dispatch her in the last Dceased series.
Right.
So, you know.
Yes.
Right.
I'll get used to this.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I'll fix it before you have to.
from all this leaning.
Yeah. But it's good. It's good. No one acted out of character, or at least as far as I would be aware.
Okay.
And the art is fine. It wasn't like really awesome, but it wasn't terrible. It was just kind of like, here's a cool story, and or here's the rest of the story, and it's like, okay, you know, it was worth the price of admission though, because the price is significantly low. So no complaints here.
Okay.
It was just kind of like...
That's one of the digital ones, right?
Yep.
Where it's like 99 cents?
Yes. Hope at World's End. This is out of the two digital exclusive series that I would be expected to purchase. This was the one I did.
Nice.
I dropped the Batman one. I can't even anymore. It's just...
Was that the Gotham Knights?
No, that was the Gotham Knights was the like DC COVID, here's something else kind of exclusive digital title.
I saw that title and it made me think of ComicPop Nights.
I don't know what that is. But yeah, so...
It's a fever dream.
But yeah, what was I going to say about that? Oh, just that there's a Batman Adventures comic that's set in the same universe. Hey. And as the animated series. And I was like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the art's real bad. Yeah.
Yes.
So pass.
Okay.
But you know, so that's a thing.
That's a thing.
Tim M in the super chats helping us out. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
And yeah, so I recommend it, I guess. Dceased, Hope at World's End. It's at issue 6. Again, to jump in, it would cost you $6 because it's $1 an issue.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sure it's probably cheaper than it will be when it's available in trade.
Okay.
So yeah, check it out. It's neat. Yeah, it's fine. No.
Right on. That's cool.
I also read Amazing Spider-Man number 45, which is part of the Sins Rising story arc.
I legit, like looking at that quickly, thought it said Sing Rising.
Sing Rising.
Because sometimes a capital S can make you think of a G, like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It can, all right? Don't give me that.
No. But yeah, this was written, of course, by Nick Spencer with art by Mark Bagley.
Ooh.
And for some reason, this felt really special. Because and I think it had everything to do with the fact that Mark Bagley doesn't normally draw your regularly scheduled 616 main continuity Spider-Man anymore.
Can that be a title? Your regularly scheduled Spider-Man?
I like that. I'm down. You got at least one purchase. But he has done, he did Life Story, he's done Ultimate Spider-Man, and of course in the 90s he drew Amazing Spider-Man regularly.
Right.
And he hasn't missed a step. This issue looked really great, and there were shades of current Bagley, the Bagley that you come to understand and expect at this point, where he's like, he learned from his past self, he's trying to reinvent himself, and then there's a couple of moments where it's like classic Spider-Man Bagley, but not in that way that you're thinking of, where you're like, oh, I see why you would have liked that back then, but nowadays, our sensibilities have altered. I'm thinking specifically of this dynamic pose of Spider-Man running along a rooftop.
Yeah.
It looks so classic Bagley. I was like, this is really cool. Like, it was exactly what I wanted. It scratched my itch.
Yeah, no, he does a really good, lanky Spider-Man without
Yes.
making him too lanky, where he doesn't have, the musculature that you would imagine he might have.
Exactly.
It's just a good balance, but, he definitely, it's a slim form when Bagley draws him, and he does it well.
He does it very well. And I really, that moment I was like, oh, wow, he's still doing Spider-Man. The story itself was actually kind of funny because, Spencer has been doing a lot of house cleaning with Spider-Man. If you are reading Spider-Man regularly, you're probably like, who the hell's Kindred? What's that all about? Well, shut up, because Spencer doesn't care about you. He just wants to get you to keep buying more Spider-Man books.
Right.
But this story in particular paid off the implication that the Sin Eater, aka Stanley Carter, former disgraced detective of the New York Police Department, murderer of Jean DeWolf, is back.
Right.
And now he's got magic powers or whatever. And indeed he does. And he's, and he's part of this. He's part of the Kindred plot. Bringing back someone from Spider-Man's past that no one dared bring back, mostly because probably the modern comic book writers for Spider-Man didn't remember the Sin Eater in any way outside of him being a casualty of the Eddie Brock origin of Venom. That being said, it was cool. This issue was fun, and it was Spencer's kind of doing this interesting thing where he's bringing back classic Spider-Man stuff and throwing away all the stuff from Big Time, Brand New Day.
Okay.
So, for example, Overdrive was a character that was a creation of the Brand New Day era, where they were like, we're not using Spider-Man villain or character. Yeah, no Spider-Man villains for a while. Only create new ones.
Right.
Which is where you get such classics as Menace. Or Overdrive, a character who can turn any car into a hot-rodding fast car.
Neat.
Who gives a shit? Who asked for that? Nobody, that's who. But Overdrive's in this, and he's being dogged by the Sin Eater. And it's funny, because Sin Eater's a character that only existed for a few issues in Spectacular Spider-Man, then died, and then never was used again, except as a plot point MacGuffin type character in the Venom origin. And then they were like, we're gonna bring him back, and he just kills Overdrive.
Okay, they're like, this is great. We have these characters that nobody cares about, and we can make them
kill them.
Utterly disposable.
Carly Cooper's in this, and she's utterly disposable too, but she's back, and it's because she is one of the contenders that could be Kindred.
Right.
And they remind you about her origins, where she comes from, who she is, that she was a goblin person.
I completely forgot about her.
Yeah, because she's an utterly forgettable character.
She's not.
No, she is. She is utterly forgettable. Out of the main Spider-Man heartthrobs, you might remember Deb Whitman more than Carly Cooper, because at least Deb Whitman was in the '90s Spider-Man cartoon. But no, it's Black Cat, it's Mary Jane. And then insert your favorite.
It's Aunt May.
Aunt May is his heartthrob. Of course, is a number one gal.
She's a heartthrob.
She gets around.
She does.
Surprisingly enough. Of course, I wouldn't advise dating Aunt May, because you'll probably die.
Right.
R.I.P. Nathan Lebensky, J. Jonah Jameson Sr., and Uncle Ben.
They should do a one-shot where she goes to, Florida or something and has, a Golden Girls-esque adventure down there.
If Amazing Mary Jane is any indication, we should get, a Spectacular Aunt May book. Why not? Who cares?
Nobody will read this.
If you don't kill Aunt May, but you want to get her off the table, do that. They did that, actually, in the old Spider-Man books. She rented her, because she had lived in this big house, but nobody lived there.
Yeah.
So she rented out the rooms to old people who didn't have homes or didn't have families to live with.
Right.
And they able-bodied. It wasn't an assisted living facility. They just had old boarders.
Yeah.
And so they were characters, and I think Nathan Lebensky actually comes from that period of Spider-Man. But I love that story, and you could do that again. You could do that. You could totally do that. Screw it. Just don't even move her to Florida. Just move her, back into Forest Hills and give her a cast of characters of sassy old ladies.
Yeah.
Why not? Right?
There you go, Marvel. That one's for free.
Yeah. But anyway,
I dare you.
The art made me a lot more okay with this issue than I would have been.
Right.
But that being said, Spider-Man was in character. I'm a little intrigued about the Sin Eater and the nature of his powers. For example, he shoots at Spider-Man, and I thought he made contact when he shot him, but Spider-Man wasn't affected.
Right.
Yeah, he was. He was shot, and he was not affected, but Overdrive was. So the implication here is if you haven't dealt with your sins, the Sin Eater will kill you with his magic sin-eating shotgun,
right,
and then take on your sins and make himself stronger or something.
Okay.
Who cares? That's that's whatever. But it was but the nature of his power is Spider-Man is not without sin, but maybe it's because he's such a head case about responsibility that he doesn't he works through them every single day.
With it, yeah.
Exactly. And I was that's a neat idea.
Yeah.
Explore that some more. So good issue. Amazing Spider-Man number 45 or
nice.
Whatever. Check it out. Also, I really liked seeing Bagley's art. I was actually sad to see that Bagley didn't do the cover for this. Because the cover implies a different era of Spider-Man altogether. This feels like a 90s Spider-Man book.
Really?
Like Spider-Man Tangled Web or something. Just on the end of the 90s into the 2000s.
A real pulp feel.
It does. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. More like a novel.
Yeah.
Than a comic.
You should see the when they were trying everything. It wasn't all Mike Wieringo and Bagley. It was stuff like this.
Yeah.
But neat stuff. No complaints.
All right.
But yeah, good issue.
Cool.
Ilmorn says, I dreamt of both of you last night, not creepily. I don't think there's any way for it not to be, but I do appreciate it anyway. Thank you, Ilmorn. I do the same thing, though. When I'm, if I watch a lot of YouTube, I will dream that I'm in the show, and I'm like, oh no.
I dream about games.
Yeah.
More than anything.
Yeah. No, you have no idea how many times I've been on Smodcast.
I mean, you know what it is? I'm never in the game.
No?
No, I'm just playing it. I'm like, what is it? This sucks.
I'm not even earning any XP.
This is just stressful, and I'm not, yeah, forget it.
Yeah. Weeby and Geeky says, who do you think is Kindred is? One More Day, Peter Parker. Gwen Stacy's my guess. I've said this a number of times, and I'm actually saving it for an Elseworlds exchange, but my theory, and I'm saying it only because I don't want someone to, have taken it from, 6 months ago and pretend like they had it the whole time,
right?
Was, I think it's Harry Osborn's soul.
What?
I think that when they resurrected Harry Osborn,
yeah,
they were like, oh, yeah, he never really died, or, whatever, Goblin formula. I'm like, no, he died. And they cloned him.
Okay.
And so the Harry that's been running around, the one that was in American Son and the one that was in New Ways to Die, all of it has been a clone Harry that's just been kind of dicking around. That way, the Harry Osborn kid he has that isn't normie, his whole relationship, all that stuff, like that could all go away because it's a clone and who cares?
Okay.
You can either kill them, have him degenerate, throw it all away, have him live happily ever after, either way, but like Kindred is the real Harry Osborn. The only reason why I think that is because Spencer's been doing a lot of like cleaning house of particularly DeMatteis's work. He like fixed Craven, so to speak,
right?
And made a lot of that other stuff go away,
right?
And he keeps referring to other things. Of course, Kindred also means like family, brother, that kind of thing. So,
right.
But I think that's another fix because, of course, DeMatteis killed Harry Osborn in the now famous Spectacular Spider-Man number 200. And it's too good an issue to have ruined by bringing it back for no reason in one more day.
Will you also, in your Elseworlds, be doing the worst pitch for it?
I mean, I could.
I got one.
Okay.
It's Uncle Ben.
That would be the worst one.
I know.
Yeah, they did.
That's why it doesn't work on him.
They even dangled it in Clone Conspiracy, but even Dan Slott wouldn't do it.
No, I know.
But Uncle Ben would be the worst.
That's the worst one.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
horrible. But yeah, so that's our theories.
Okay. That's not my theory.
No.
That was my worst one.
That was your worst theory.
Worst one.
Dan V900 says, I do find it a bit funny that Injustice Year Zero leaked. DC and Taylor have to pretend it didn't for marketing purposes with it debuting tomorrow. Yeah, that happens. There was a whole Venom issue that came out a month early, digitally, like last night. And then they were like, oops, and they took it away. But like, of course, the internet being what it is, it's out there. All it does is bring back another character. It's just a story. It's just a little chapter in the ongoing Venom saga. But like, these things happen.
Yeah.
And Taylor's got to play ball because Taylor wants what DC has. Taylor's not, despite the fact that Taylor like wrote Dceased and has created a major cash cow for both of them, he still has to play ball and he still has to like, because like if it were Snyder and it got leaked, he'd be like, yeah, like, and then he'd just tell you what happened,
right?
But Taylor is still kind of like, he's still new, despite him being like a mainstay and like kicking ass when it comes to his writing. So no complaints. He'll be fine. And bless, the book comes out like tomorrow. So
there you go.
What did you read this week?
That's a great question, and that's going to be answered right now. I read. Let's talk about Hellblazer real quick.
Hellblazer.
This concluded the story that we talked about last time with the mermaid.
Yes.
Siren lady.
Yeah, everybody remember that?
Yeah, everyone remember that? It's written by Simon Spurrier with art by, I want to say, Aaron Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try to swipe my way over here to the end page. Yeah.
Cool.
This book for me was great, first of all, but like it was a really great example of like Spurrier getting Constantine to some degree. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure people who are really well versed in the old volumes and different writers there, don't forget, like there have been so many different like writers for John.
Yeah.
For Hellblazer.
Yeah. Over the last like 30 years.
Yeah. But this John in this story is in a position where like he messed up in a way without like, typically it's like you see John in a position when he's in the teen book where he denies wanting to help out and then inevitably comes around. He's trying to solve the mystery of the flat-capped guy who's like messing up everything and like affecting people, influencing folk. And he thought he was influencing the guy who was with the mermaid. Mm-hmm. And he explains all this and he's just like, so I like watched him for a little bit, but like I did all these like spells to like figure out whether or not like there was magic involved and I didn't sense anything. And to be honest, I didn't even know you were here. So sorry. It's like, it's my bad. Yeah. Like I messed up. Like, but I didn't because I refuse to take responsibility for this.
Naturally, yeah.
But basically this John is like, this guy is a wanker and I'm gonna wreck him. You know what I mean? Like, I love that about John because like John's a bastard, but he also won't allow anyone else to be like one. You know what I mean? So it's just like, no, you suck. And that guy does suck. The fact is, like, he uses the shell to like make her think that like she's in love with him and like it just constantly uses her and like she has false memories of what happened.
Oh no.
And like blames other people for what happened and he's like, that's not true, and she's pregnant and like the whole thing.
Yeah. So
and
John has reason to,
but like there's also his own guilt in there where he's just like, how did I not see this? Oops.
Right.
So like at the end of the day, like all is set right, but like in a way that only can happen in a Hellblazer book where it's like nobody's really happy at the end, but like justice is served, and so like that to me is a great book.
Right. that should be enough, I guess.
Yeah, and the art in this obviously is spectacular. Aaron Campbell is just like born to draw this world, this like grim, gritty horror story that like also has these like elements of like mysticism, supernatural, and such. I really, really like this series. Like they're clearly like unraveling the mystery that was set at the beginning of this. But I love these little vignette stories as well, where it's just like, here's John solving something, but also kind of progressing like what he's doing about this whole thing.
Right.
I thought it was excellent. If
you've been a champion of this series.
I have been a champion.
The first issue I think left you in the cold, and then like literally after that,
it wasn't the first issue. It was that not first issue, like the Sandman Universe Hellblazer book, which it is, but there was like one where it was like setting up the fact that he'd been set back in time and that Tim Hunter like ruins everything.
Right.
And I was like, okay, this is just like, and I'm sure we're gonna have to deal with that. We're gonna come around to that at some point, but this book has just been John dealing with this overarching plot, but like also dealing with like little things as he goes along, but not in a like Quantum Leap or like, you know, Exiles kind of book where it's like, oh, I have to go do this. It stumbles upon him, he stumbles upon it. Like this time he actually was looking for something and still messed up. I just like it. If you want to check it out, you can literally just pick up this issue and the one before that to kind of get a feeling as to what's going on, because he does talk about what is happening in the main like storyline.
Right, he contextualizes it.
Just to kind of get a feel to see if you like it.
Yeah. Cool.
Even the issue before that was like kind of like a one-shot story, which is also very good. That's always
great.
So again, if you like Hellblazer, you want like a grim, gritty peek into the DC universe, this is where you're gonna get it, especially with that Vertigo.
That's fair. Yeah, with the absence of Vertigo, this is all you get.
Oh, it is a Black Label. So.
Now, are you gonna be picking up that Black Label series? I think it's by Tom Taylor.
Which one? Wait,
I thought the Constantine book.
Oh,
I don't remember who's doing it.
No, I thought you were talking about something else that's coming out this week.
Oh, is it that crossover?
No, something else.
Oh my God.
I didn't see a crossover.
Oh, the Sandman crossover with whatever the hell. The Hill House, I think.
Oh, Hill House is the imprint.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, is it the one by G. Willow Wilson?
I don't know.
Okay, anyway, moving on.
All right,
we'll get to that later.
Yeah. So I read, I forgot that this book existed and then subsequently picked it up. Because I was like, oh yeah, this is good. And that's essentially my opinion of this series. Is like, oh yeah, it's good. Like, it's cool. This is, of course, Batman Superman number 10, I believe. It is written by Joshua Williamson, this time with art by Clayton Henry. The story is Batman and Superman fight the Ultra Humanite. That's the story. And it dares to have a part 2. Like, I would ever care. But that being said, what are some pros for this series, or for this issue particularly? Number one, the writing is spot on. The characters' voices are very much in character, and it's fun to see Batman and Superman in like kind of like a professional relationship, and it's not contextualizing everything, nor is it trying to be its own thing and like pretend like nothing's happening. It's just a day in the life. Like, and that's what this book should feel like. Is it's not a momentous occasion. Sometimes they're gonna fight the Ultra Humanite, and who gives a shit? You know, but and it's not like there's interpersonal drama that takes a front seat to this, but we're making it the Ultra Humanite because who cares? It's more about like Batman and Superman trying to solve the mystery of who killed the Atomic Skull. Of course, it was Ultra Humanite, and there's a whole thing going on. The good is in the writing and in some of the art. The bad is in the depiction of Superman and Batman out of their respective... Well, Batman out of his mask and Superman being like, oh, that's how you draw heads in this book. Everyone has like kind of a really elongated head for no good reason.
The whole anatomy is actually kind of
stretched,
elongated, especially in the arms, I noticed.
Yes.
I guess that's just the style that they're going for.
Right.
I will say though, the coloring makes me think of the Superman animated series.
Yeah. Well, it's a much lighter looking
brighter,
book.
It's more hopeful. I've noticed that a lot. Like when they cross over Batman and Superman, they tend to color it more towards like a Superman palette.
Yes,
than
absolutely.
They do a Batman.
Yeah, because they're like, well, there's no shortage of Batman books. You're good. Like, if you want to read a Batman book with Superman in it, just look, just wait a minute.
Right.
But a Superman story, I mean, like the nature of their crossing over should be Superman kind of leaning, because Superman only has a couple of books.
Sure.
But yeah, I thought that the art was like just it was okay.
Right.
Everything else is great. It was just the anatomy for Batman and Superman. I was like, everything's really long for no reason, and I was like, what is that? There was no moment in it where I was like, that looks awesome, but there was a moment where I thought that looks weird. But when I think about it, everything else is fine. Ultra Humanite looks great. The sets, everything, like, you know, the backgrounds, the buildings, everyone else, all humans, the costumes, everything's fine. It's just, it's all fine. No major complaints. I was just kind of thrown off by how bizarre their particular anatomy was, particularly because, like, that's the thing everyone draws, like, when they want to get into comics. It's like they nail their Batman. It's like, you're getting Batman and Superman because I saw your depiction of Batman. You know, and it's like, okay, here you go. Here's Stretch Armstrong as Bruce Wayne. And it's like, what is that?
It's a little different.
It is a little different, which is not always a bad thing.
No, it's not. But like, it definitely. I don't know. It's weird. It's like the torso region down to the like hip section. There's something weird about the proportions there. Yeah,
a little bit. But otherwise, I mean, like, it is an utterly skippable issue.
I guess I'd rather have them a little bit longer than like too short.
That's true. They would look
like,
if they were
too compressed.
Yeah, if they were Danny DeVito, I would have a problem. But like, yeah, it was a good issue. I had a fun time reading it.
Okay.
You know, I don't know if it's worth the cover price, but I think it was it was a fine story. That's more than I could say for Empyre #3, which I don't know if you read.
Oh my god, I didn't even know that came out.
But yeah, and Empyre 4 comes out next week.
Oh damn it, I didn't read it.
Don't worry about it. It was super boring, and who cares?
I still have to go back and read it.
This is pretty much like it for me when it comes to Empyre. Is going to be this issue. I'm going to be reading more of it, but I probably won't talk about it at length, and I'm not going to be singing its praises like I was.
I mean, I feel like we were kind of like...
We were lukewarm in it as it is.
Yeah.
Al Ewing, Dan Slott. This particular script was written by Al Ewing with art by Valerio Schiti. And who cares? Like, a lot of people were complaining about this series because they were like, whatever, right? Plant people? Come on. It feels a little cliche. And like, is this the kind of story we want right now? And I was kind of being like, yo, like, it's a quintessential Marvel story. It's about space, characters, you know, everyone on the board. We're playing. And it's like, yeah, that's true. But... you know, when the issues are $5-6 and when like very little happens and when even the character interactions aren't like exciting or worth a damn, like Reed and Tony have this moment together. I think they spend 2 pages on it. And you know, Tony feels like an idiot because the plant thing, you know, he's like, I can't believe I fell for it.
Right.
And it's like, and Reed's like, don't blame yourself. 2 pages for that? That's all we get? No reference to the Illuminati, no reference to, you know, their time killing universes in the, you know, in the other Illuminati. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no context, and it's Al Ewing who knows this shit.
Well, it could just be that Marvel's like, don't make it too deep divey because like maybe they're just trying to.
Swordsman's in it.
Okay, I know, but.
They also tried to like get us like really hyped because they did a big 2-page reveal of a new player on the board, and it's Mantis.
That's
because
that's not a surprise to me at all. When they were like talking about like go home, like that's the person who was in the ship in the last issue.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, I didn't know for sure it was going to be Mantis, but like there was not a doubt in my mind that Mantis wasn't going to show back up.
She's Koi's mom.
Yeah, she's gonna be like, go to your room.
Right. And so she appears and she's like, it's Swordsman's fault. I didn't do this. It was Swordsman. He's the jerk.
Well, I mean, you did go away.
Right. No, I'm saying, it's just like, what? Like, you guys are really leaning on the movie thing a little too hard. Not that, like, Mantis in any way looks like her version, although they did make her more Asian in this than they did ever before. But she, you know, she looks kind of like a new version of the comic book counterpart. You know, but, like, who cares? Like, what's she gonna do? You know, it's an Avengers Fantastic Four book. I appreciate you're bringing back Swordsman. You know you're gonna kill him at the end, but like, you know, he's here. Mantis is here. I don't know. It's just there's not enough. Also, and then by the time you get to the end, you know, it turns out the female Kree assistant to Ted is actually a Skrull in disguise, and she's like, yeah, and you're like, who cares? Like, there's nothing about this that made me go like, oh, like these kinds of things. I should always be like, what? There's one good moment in it that I found like to be like, oh, that's satisfying in like a story-driven kind of way. Black Panther wants to use the sword, the magic sword that Teddy wields that like all the Kree and Skrulls are, you know, splooging over. They're trying to tell, like, so they were like, we got to destroy the Armada and crap. We got to power up Carol again. We're going to stab her again with the sword, but we're going to ratchet up to 11. And everyone in the ship is like, what? Like, she died. The last time we stabbed it, we're gonna do it again. Also, like, didn't we literally just do that? And then Black Panther is like,
listen. If it works for Ryu in Street Fighter,
yes,
you just keep spamming the attack.
That's
man.
right. That's
you
right.
Just spam it
naturally. But Black Panther calls and he's like, I've got a plan, and it involves the sword. And Teddy's like, done. So he sends the sword.
As long as the sword is being used, I don't care.
Exactly.
I just want my sword to be used.
Well, and like, everyone's like, do you want to be a figurehead or not? Like all the Kree and the Skrull are like, we didn't install you as a puppet dictator to not be a puppet, but like you're not doing anything. You're just sitting here. And it's like, you're right about that, but also like, who's gonna listen to you? One of you is a Skrull whose like entire existence is yeah, and the other one's a Kree, which is like a half-assed Spartan warrior. So like, why would I listen to either of you? And then it turns out like the Kree and the Skrull are like conspiring against Teddy because like he's not being enough of a badass. And I'm like, who gives a shit? Like at no point was I like, whoa, this is really dope. It was just like, who cares? I was just not excited. You know what I mean? I was just like, eh. So I do not recommend Empyre #3. We're halfway through, and each issue comes out like a week away.
Right.
So I'm going to be reading this series because I want to be informed and I want to be on top of it. But like, I doubt it's good. Like, not that I doubt it's going to be great, and no, I have no care.
You know what it is? Like, this should have been a popcorn story.
Yes.
Like, that's all it should have been. It should have just been something where it's just, like, big, silly moments where, like, if you think about it for too long, you're like, wait, what?
Yep.
But, like,
well, not even, like, or it's like, if you think about it for too long, you're like, wow, there's nothing to this.
Yeah, and that's what at least it should have been.
Yes. This is like setting up the cosmology of the Marvel Universe in the most, like, obvious, desperate, ham-fisted kind of way. Like, there's nothing about this that screams, like, intrigue or fun. It's like, barely a Deep Space Nine episode.
Right.
And like, and Deep Space Nine was nuanced and subtle, and it played with power struggles, and it was about a bunch of people stood around talking to each other for most of the show.
Yeah.
Like, that's what this book is. Except like sometimes Black Panther will turn into a friggin' mech, and like, and then he doesn't do. And then what did he do again? I don't even remember anymore. Like, that's what this book is, and it's like I was very much like I was kind of being like, come on, but like. It's $5.
It is a lot, and the tie-ins are a lot.
Yeah, I read X-Men, as did you, and it's a goddamn tie-in, and it's like...
Well, that is a tie-in, but that's still X-Men. It's not a new book created like they have.
And we liked that X-Men tie-in.
Yeah.
Because that was also Rickman and Hickman, and it sets things up. This one, actually, the X-Men tie-in sets up less, and is more of like an obvious tie-in, and for me, I say like... Why did Hickman agree to do that? I don't understand. He already had the tie-in. Right. Like, you don't need this.
That said, they did remind me that I was like, oh yeah, because we were just talking about this the other day with Ben and Ethan, that like the Summers house
is on the moon.
And it's like,
wait a minute.
Must have noticed something there. So like, I do appreciate the acknowledgement there because the other book doesn't do that.
Nope.
But I don't know. Like, this must be like, forging ahead in some degree for Hickman for X-Men.
Yeah. And like, but as far as Empyre #3, it's a pass. Don't worry about it. You don't need to buy this. And honestly, I would skip any and all of the tie-ins if you were inclined, because like they don't really matter, and they're just gonna move on. I picked up Fantastic Four #21 from like last week.
Yeah.
Because it suggested that we were going to get like the old Fantastic Four.
I see that.
Yeah, they show up in the last page. So like that doesn't, come on. That being said, it's fun. And I was really worried because like, Slott seems really inspired / influenced by his negative criticism to like weave it in. And the dude loves Spider-Man. And I can imagine if I wrote 300 or 200 issues of Spider-Man in a row, every day being told that I'm bad at it, I would have a resentment for the character.
Sure.
And I was really worried because of how important and intrinsic Spider-Man's relationship with the Fantastic Four is, that he'd be like, okay, I'm writing Fantastic Four, I'm going to shit on Spider-Man. Like, I was really expecting him to do that, particularly because a lot of his stories kind of did towards the end.
Right.
But he doesn't.
We have to use this knowledge and, like, somehow craft negative like tweets at him that will lead him down the path of good.
Right.
I don't know how that works.
It never works. It never works. You can't neg someone into being a good writer.
No. We can. We'll work on it.
But I do like the issue was well written. The characters were fun, and of course, like just a halfway like did it have anything to do with Empyre? Nah.
Right.
Like, but also, hey, it was fun. Also, hey, Wolverine doing something with the Marvel Universe. What? Like, that was fun. And seeing him interact with Spider-Man and having him not be like, I'm a flower-worshipping Krakoan now, Spider-Man. I'm too good for our team-up. Like, nope, that doesn't happen. So, like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But again, like, anything that says Empyre on it, you can pretty much skip.
Okay.
You can pretty much skip the entire series, I'll bet.
So wait, are we going to talk about X-Men?
Yeah, we're going to talk about X-Men, but I wanted to read the super chats before we
Oh,
did that.
sure. I assume because you say we're going to skip them.
No. I'm skipping the tie-ins. But, like, X-Men is a book. It happened to be forced to become a tie-in for no reason.
I read a tie-in.
Oh. Which one?
We'll talk about it.
Grayson Red says, crap, I'm late. Don't worry about it, man. It's all recorded, so you can always scroll back.
Yeah.
The Amazing Amazo says, so glad I was able to catch the stream. Can I give a shout out to the current Suicide Squad book, Mixing Things Up, and Wonder Woman 759? Both have great art and an interesting story.
Cool.
Yeah, I've heard great things. Tom Taylor's doing Suicide Squad. So, I understand he invented a new character, and he's doing a good job.
Oh.
So yeah, I don't blame him there. Like, I think that if you're gonna like try out anything, you could go. You can't go wrong with getting a Tom Taylor book.
Yeah.
Also, he says, I am glad Empyre dropped a bunch of tie-ins for my wallet's sake. This is another thing. Yeah, Empyre had like this big ambitious release schedule with all these books, and then they were like, cut them in half.
Right.
And I'm like, thank you. Like, that's actually really responsible. But I'm kind of upset that they don't seem to be doing the Union. Kind of looking forward to some British heroes as a Brit myself.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm disappointed you didn't get that, man. Hopefully, maybe they'll be like, maybe that's too strong an idea for a tie-in. We'll like force it over here.
That would be better.
Right?
Right? Especially if they are, maybe, I don't know. Maybe they were like already projecting sales not doing well.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, let's hold off on that.
R.I.P. Ghost Rider.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are like, I'm shocked, or whatever. And
You were never shocked.
I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised by that. I don't think the like rallying call behind a Ghost Rider story was there right now.
Nope.
I don't agree with them not pushing it to digital, to at least finish it out, because it's like they solved, like, they did this one part and then they didn't even deal with Lilith, which was the whole thing they wanted to do.
Yeah.
So, like, that sucks, but, like, it did spin its wheels a few too often for me to be surprised at its cancellation.
Right. That's fair. I do know what tie-in you read now. So X-Men number 10 came out. This was, of course, Hickman and Lineal Yu. It basically focuses on Vulcan, the third Summers brother.
Yeah.
Basically, before he got back here, he was manipulated and experimented on, and they, in like a metaphysical, metaphorical, but still it actually physically happened kind of way, where they like rip him apart. They take him apart in his basic elements and find out that like he has something within him.
He was eaten by like a...
It looks like the Kree Supreme Intelligence, but it's not. It's like a big bug monster.
It looked to me like a combination of like a, a Lovecraftian version of the Violator clown.
Yeah. I was going to say, in Marvel terms, it looks like Mojo meets the Kree Supreme Intelligence.
Okay, there you
but
go.
Yeah, he does look like the Violator clown. But so this like crazy race of aliens, they take him apart. They find out like there's a fire that burns within him. And so essentially what they find out at the end of the issue is that like they made it into like a time bomb.
Yeah, they packed it away, and they're like, "Now you're totally cool and you're a good person, but like,
but
one
really
day,
you're broken.
But one day this is not gonna hold up."
It's just another Hickman like lampshade. Like, hey, here's something that's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget this. Don't say I didn't earn it when that happens in like a 2-page splash in my big event, because I definitely dedicated a whole issue to it.
Yeah,
because that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Vulcan gets left behind by a Summers family retreat. By accident, he sleeps in. Essentially, they're like, oh, you don't want to go to
Home Alone him.
They do, and they're like, and he's like, I don't even want to go. Like, you probably don't even want to go to the Shi'ar space.
That is not like, they do say that, but they're more like, hey man, like, we gotta talk about this you not doing anything kind of thing. Like,
yes.
you gotta ask. To be fair, they're like, trip to the beach isn't just like the Summers family, because Wolverine's there too.
Wolverine's part of the family.
Uncle Wolverine's always there.
He's always there. No. He is. He's part of the family.
I know.
It's just, he has a room. But, we've gone over
connections.
the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the three main characters in this book are Vulcan, Petra, and Sway. Two other mutants that I have almost no context for. I'm not that kind of X-Men fan. But the two of them essentially like drink the whole issue
They
and make fun of him.
And they want to have a party because they're like, "Oh, the summer home is empty.
Right, let's use their house." And I'm like,
yeah.
"Can't you just plant a house and make it big and awesome and hang out there?"
Yeah, but that's not fun. That's not fun.
Right. No, I'm sorry.
That's not a like hijinks level party.
That's true. So Vulcan goes and he finds the like.
He finds an outpost. Like they've taken over. Like there's like the main part of like what the Kawadi are doing, but then there's like a little outpost that he like stumbles upon or knows is there.
Yes. And then he essentially wrecks it. Like that's
he does, but he also like makes a good point to them. He's just like, I see what you're doing here. You're gonna attack Earth, but you're trying really hard not to hit Krakoa because it's like they don't want to hit that bee's nest,
which is fair. Right? And interesting. I like that observation.
I like that observation because I think it calls into question its reasoning for that. Like their reasoning for that. Is it because of the like amount of like Omega level mutants and just mutants in general that are on Krakoa, or is it because the Kawadi are like kind of afraid of what Krakoa is?
Yeah, or might do to them.
Right. So I'm like, that's kind of neat. And then like he also is just like, I get like your beef with humans because like trust me when I say I understand.
Yeah.
But like if you're doing this and you're destroying them, what will that make you afterwards?
Right, exactly.
And I was like, that's kind of cool. Like he's trying to like appeal to them on a moral high ground,
but they don't care, and they're like, "You're meat anyway." So they put a plant in his face that it's strips him apart.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be like truth serum, basically. Yes. It's supposed to be like if you're not telling the truth, like we'll find out what's up.
So essentially, it gets to the core of what the aliens put in him in the first place, and it makes him like nuke, and he destroys the outpost.
Right, which they immediately were like, "Oh, he did that," and it's like, "Well, typically you did that."
Yeah, exactly. He didn't mean to do that.
Typically, you made that happen.
He didn't even like say don't do it because he didn't know it was going to happen. But then he's met by Petra and so forth.
Which, by the way, they know like
that he was there and going there
because like he attacks or like gets attacked and kind of fights back for a second before they do get him. And the two of them are sitting there and they're like, "Oh, should we go help?" They're like, "Nah,
maybe.
And,
Let me finish my drink first." And then like it nukes, and they're like, "Nah, we should definitely not go over there." But then they go anyway, and they're like,
"Hey, what's up?"
And they retrieve, make fun of him a little bit more, and then they take him home. That's the whole issue.
Yeah.
Which
but now also like the Kawadi are aware of the word Krakoa.
Yes, that's the one thing they took away from like the black box of the explosion of that.
Yeah. It was a person.
Yeah.
It was a Kawadi.
Yeah.
Sorry, to call them that is incorrect because they're not meat.
No, that's right. That's right. If you could skip any X-Men book in this run, this is the one to skip. Who cares?
Yeah, and honestly, like the art was fine.
Well, it's Leinil Yu, so it's like if you don't like Leinil Yu, you're not gonna like this one.
Yeah,
it wasn't given much to do.
It wasn't much to do. It was fine.
Yeah, you could have given it to if you have like an X-Men artist that like is a pickup or a fill-in and want to give you like a day off. This was the time to do it.
Yeah.
Totally skippable. All you need to know is Vulcan can explode. So that's that. You did a tie-in. Let's talk about that tie-in.
I read Empyre Savage Avengers.
Yay.
Written by Jerry Duggan with art by Greg Smallwood.
Now you're kind of big on Jerry Duggan lately.
I am. I will say this issue is just chewing the scenery.
Is that good?
It is and it isn't. I mean, like, literally it's a team up between Conan and Venom.
Right, which like...
they've teamed up before in this book, but it's like,
Yeah, but like, was it even Venom? Like, it was kind of weird.
This is literally dealing, just like Conan's in Mexico, and he's dealing with, like, the attack of the Kawadi, because the Kawadi basically are like, hey, we have to join the fight in Wakanda. But before we do that, we need, like, fuel, so we need fertilizer, so we need to go and like friggin' get people and turn them into fertilizer.
Right.
Sound like a movie?
Yeah, it does.
Because they certainly show up and then like tendrils come out and like pick people up, pull them into their...
Oh no, into the big tree?
Yeah. I'm like, yeah. There's no Tom Cruise to run around though. Unfortunately.
That's fine. We have Venom and Conan for that.
Well, Conan's not running around. Conan's basically at a wrestling match, which I was like, Conan's doing a lot right now. Conan's also
He's everywhere.
To be, like, well, Conan's everywhere. And, like, the stuff in the past, like, in, like, in his time period, I'm fine with. That could be happening at any point in time.
Exactly.
But Conan's also simultaneously working on the whole serpent crown thing.
Is he really? Is that still happening?
Whatever. Yeah, it is.
Oh, no.
Regardless. So Conan's there, and, like, basically he's, like, enjoying a wrestling match and the food, and he's just, like, he's enjoying it as much as he's like, when will they actually begin to fight?
Right.
And he gets,
it's
gets into a fight in the stands, and then the trees attack, and he, like, saves somebody, and then, like, he starts killing, like, Kawadi. He also mentions that, like, when the trees attack, he sees the two wrestlers, like, look up at it.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he talks about seeing this look in a man's eyes when they know they're going to die.
Right.
And he's like, I've seen it many times before, right?
Yeah.
And, like, when he talks about the Kawadi, like, he says, like, I know they're not men, but, like, they have the same look.
Right.
And so, like, he kills a bunch of them. And then one of them hits him with an arrow, and it, like, pumps, like, a hallucinogen into his body.
Okay.
And so, like, he wakes up, and it's, like, snowy, and there's a giant woman there who's going to eat him. And then, like, Venom pulls him out of it, basically.
Okay, cool.
And it's like, hey man, do you remember me? Remember we teamed up? You remember all that? Like, we gotta work together here.
Okay.
And then, like, Venom gives him what looks like a, like parking meter that he's been brandishing as a cudgel.
Yes.
And he's like, let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they do. They
do
this. And, like, Conan sees, like, a farmer is, like, fighting back, and he has his, like, farming equipment that's, like, ripping up the Kawadi. And then, like, one of them gets to him and, like, kills him.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, Conan's like, I'll avenge you. And, like, he kills the guy. And then he's like, hey, before you die, how do I drive this?
Right.
How do I make this work? And so then Conan, like, goes after them, and Venom rigs, like a tanker truck to explode, and, like, they kill the ship, basically.
Cool.
And that's it. And then they have tacos. Because, like, Conan saved the taco guy.
Right.
What's fun about this, again, like, this was a $5 book, and I definitely did not get $5 worth of story.
No.
I didn't at all. Greg Smallwood, at first I was like, what's going on with the art? What I dig about it is that it has, like, an old printed on newsprint feel, and so, like, that somehow matches the campiness of, like, moments in this.
Right.
The coloring is also, like, off the wall.
Yeah.
Like, intense. Like, they're just using, like, a lot of, like, magenta and, like, chartreuse and, like, just these really bright, in-your-face colors.
Yeah.
It's Conan in a way I haven't seen him depicted in other books in terms of art style and coloring choices.
Yeah. This is very weird. This is very tone
I am
different.
not saying I recommend this because, again, it was $5 and it honestly wasn't that long. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's probably 20 pages.
It was technically 30, but it's an action book, and one of the pages is like just text.
Yeah. I will say again, listen, if you are ever looking to save money on books, but you still want to stay in the loop, like, comic shops overbuy on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, they need to unload their inventory after the fact. You will get it for at least half off.
Yeah.
If you wait a month or a couple of weeks.
For sure. And, like, this doesn't really do anything except
team up Venom and Conan.
Yeah, that's really what it does. Like I said, like, if you like that style of art, again, like, it really kind of grew on me. And I'm not saying, like, I want Greg Smallwood for, like, a Conan book, but, like,
or a Venom book for that matter.
For a Venom, yeah, exactly. Like, but this really worked, and, like, I could definitely see this art style applied elsewhere in a cool way. Like, this could definitely be, like, almost like a Doctor Strange sort of like nod to Ditko in terms of the way it's colored.
Right, the coloring especially. Yeah.
So.
I hear what you're saying.
But I read it because I mentioned it. I went back last week. I was like, what 3 books did I say I wanted to read? And I was like, oh, I said it. I said it.
Yeah. Let me read some super chats here because Dan B900 says, I loved Hellblazer.
Mm-hmm.
I've been recommending that the last 2 issues, like Tiffany. You don't need to start from the beginning, and it's great, and it's grim.
No, you don't, but, like, and I think it's enough to get people to go back if they want to, but I think it really is an excellent, like, showing of what Spurrier is doing with the character.
Right. Kevbot 1995, can't stay to hang, but I will, so I will hear this on my route for work tomorrow.
Hello.
I'm a meter
Good
reader,
morning.
and I walk about 15 to 18 miles a day. I really appreciate what you guys do for the comics community. Here, you guys on the daily. Much love. Thank you, Kevbot.
That's so sweet, and good luck with that. Like, that's a lot of walking.
Yeah, and hopefully you're not on the East Coast, because it's going to rain like crazy tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be rough if you are around here. Be safe, especially tonight as well.
Yeah. You know what you got to do. If you don't have it already, you got to get one of those step counters and be like, I got to know. Like,
I would not want to know.
But
if they already know that they're going 15 miles an hour.
That's
like,
true.
a
You
day,
know how long you're doing it, then you have a step counter.
That's crazy.
Thank you, Kev.
That's really healthy, though.
No, it's true. Yeah, I almost envy you. Not really though, but thank you. Thank you, Kevbot. Really appreciate it. And enjoy the route.
Yeah. Hi.
Hey,
we're with you.
Yeah, God, only a couple more miles to go.
Exactly. Let's look at that meter.
Right. So yeah. Those are all the books I read.
No, they aren't. You didn't read the other one?
What one?
The Harley Quinn Black, White, and Red?
No, I didn't read it.
I told you about it.
I know. I didn't have time.
Oh, all right. I read it.
I do other things,
Legit don't know why I actually picked it up. Like, I think I was just at the point where I was like, there was so little coming out this week. I was like, okay, this is a good time for me to grab something I haven't been reading.
Yes.
So I grabbed Harley Quinn Black and White and Red.
Now, that being said, and this is why this is the cover and everything, like this, is this set in the Murphyverse?
It is because this series, this Harley Quinn series that has been going on, these digital exclusive or digital first books, these 99-cent books,
yes,
are each story is by a totally different team.
Right.
And they don't connect, I don't believe. So this one, or at least this one in particular, doesn't. When I look back at the other story, like the teams and kind of what was going on in them, I didn't necessarily see that there was a connection there.
Right.
So the story is by Sean Gordon Murphy with Katana Collins, and then Katana Collins does the script, and the art's by Matteo Scalera. Matteo Scalera is the reason I clicked on the book at all,
right?
Because the cover.
Yep.
Because the cover. Damn.
Yeah.
I love Scalera's take on the like black and white and red
motif.
Like, yeah, like I just love it. Because he utilizes like very much a monochromatic palette for most of it. Like the current time period is done in a lot of grayscales with hints of red because it's Valentine's Day.
Yep.
Then we get all these flashbacks and it's all done in red, monochrome. And it's just spectacularly done, so well rendered. It is a treat and it's 99 cents. So like I can't tell you how much I recommend this. The story is Harley is at home with her kids. And it's Valentine's Day, and they're, like, making Valentines for Batman.
Okay.
And they're like, you should make one, too. And so she writes to him and basically, like, says that, like, happy, like, single awareness day.
Uh-huh.
And, like, talks about how, like, I can't believe that, like, you, like, one of my foes, like, ended up being one of my best friends, but I guess I should have known that from the first time you ever arrested me.
Oh.
And so we get a flashback where, like, there's a heist going on at a museum because they have a thing called the Clown Diamond, so naturally the Joker wants it, and Harley wanted it, and he's gonna give it to her. As like, he's like, I won't make it into jewelry, like, a necklace or earrings or a ring, and she's like, oh, and he's like, not that kind of ring. But anyway, like, he's threatening a security guard and is like, hey, give me the key to get into the case. And he's like, I don't have it. Only like the top security guy has it and he's not here. I literally can't get you in. And like, clearly the Joker's getting agitated and is going to do something rash. And like, Harley's like, hey, like, why don't we just steal some of the paintings instead? Oh. Like, kind of de-escalating the situation.
Yes.
Batman and Robin show up. I love the image of them.
So good.
Up top. It's just... Again, we're dealing with one color here and, like, values of it. And, like, it's just, like, you wouldn't think that you'd be able to get that much out of it, and here it is.
Yeah.
Joker obviously sees that they're here, and requests his gun. Harley has, like, a duffel bag just filled with crap, and, like, she's just trying to find it. Like, any person is when you have a bag. Like, the thing you want is inevitably at the bottom, because that's just how it works.
Yeah.
I love this them swinging into action. It's like, oh my gosh, look at this panel.
Yeah, I'll take one, please.
Yes, one of these for me, please. I'll just put that on the wall someplace. Just a super classic looking image of Batman and Robin done in
action.
Yeah, swinging in action in colors that don't typically suit Batman.
Nope,
it totally works. So she pulls out the gun, gives it to him. It's got the bang flag. He's like, not that gun, the real gun. And a fight breaks out, like Batman fights against Joker, Robin pairs off against Harley, then she jumps on Batman's back to like try to stop him from, getting the Joker.
Yep.
And then like he does a bit where he like puts glasses on. He's like, you wouldn't hit a guy with glasses. And Batman just takes them off and then punches him in the face.
Yes. I saw that page online.
Right. It's comical and like a little over the top, but like, it's fine. It's also a Harley memory,
It's also a 89 Batman reference.
Yeah.
But in a more, I think, in a better execution.
And then the cops show up and they're both arrested. And, like, essentially, like, Batman's talking to Harley and like how he's like, you know, you like could get out like with good behavior in like a week,
Right?
Like with bail, and she's like, why? And like essentially, he's like, because you de-escalated the situations. You know, you like saved that guard's life. You made sure no hostages got hurt. She's like, what are you talking about? Like I tied up like the hostages and blah blah blah. And he's like, no. You specifically made sure he didn't hurt the guard, and then you didn't give him his gun. And I know you did that on purpose. And I'm like, it's like a really interesting like interpretation of that dynamic where like she's not like this Harley is not there to escalate the Joker, but it's actually there to de-escalate the Joker.
Yes. Which is actually in keeping with that character when it's depicted in White Knight.
They also have a moment where he's like, hey, you're like the only one who ever hears me coming up behind you. How?
Right.
And she's like, your tights squeak when you walk. He's like, they're not tights.
No, they're not tights.
They're not tights. And then she laughs about it, right? And she's like, haha, sure they're not. But basically he's just like, you know, like you like are the one who like gets Jack's condition, and like you're like because you're a doctor and I know you're super intelligent, and like you're right. Years ago you told me that Jack was better with you by his side, but I think you're better without him. But like I get it. Like you are helping to like keep people safe,
right? And
I was like, it's cute. It's really like it's an adorable like, you know, little like look into the relationship of like Harley with Joker, Harley with Batman. She basically like signs the letter talking about how like, you know, like there's only 2 men in this world I ever love, and like who saw through my facade, and like, you know, one's gone, and like, you know, whatever. Yeah. Then I think Montoya and Leslie come over for like dinner, and then like she's like, oh, hang on, I'm gonna go mail these. So she goes and drops the kids' mail like into the box, and like Batman's is in for Stonegate. Yeah. And she doesn't mail it. She just puts it in her pocket. Oh. Yeah. I was like, oh. But it's a really well done short story. I got more out of this 99-cent issue than I did out of the $5 Savage Avengers issue. Yep. Oh yeah. The final image here is stunning. Like again, something else that like I would easily put this up on my wall. Yeah. We've definitely looked at Scalera's work before. Yeah. We've talked about it. We definitely mentioned that name, but like I didn't know how much I wanted more works by him before. Like it's just so good. You know, like I said, like it's a little more tongue in cheek. It's a little humorous. I know there are humorous notes in White Knight. Yes. But like this is kind of setting up where Harley's story is going to go when they launch that. Yeah. So it was just like a little prelude, essentially. Nice. And again, for $1. Just a single $1, you could have this right now. Right. So there you go. Cool. Yeah. Like, well, then I'm disappointed I didn't read it. That was like one of the best books I read this week. And like honestly, DC won out the week for me easily because I read Hellblazer and Plunge and this. Yep. So like DC nailed it this week for me. Yeah. Yeah. Dan Wesley says, finally getting back to work starting tomorrow, so I want to say thank you guys for helping me keep sane. Welcome back to the Rat Race, Dan. Thanks very much for hanging out with us, and hopefully we didn't lose you. Hopefully we found a good balance for you, man. Yeah. Somnus says, have either of you checked out the Sandman audio drama? I love it. Makes me want a lot of my favorites done in the audio format. He's just gonna push it to me. I've heard the commercial. I've heard the commercial for it. And I heard Gaiman talking. Here's the thing. I don't want to like. I'm gonna give you my opinion, but like it's just my opinion. Yeah. Like I am happy that people are enjoying it, and I'm happy that people are jumping in on it because folk won't read it. You know what I mean? If exactly. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm glad the story's getting out there. Yeah. That said, I don't know how I feel about voices that I already know playing characters that either I already had a voice for in my head or couldn't have a human voice whatsoever. Right. You know what I mean? Like that I struggle with, and it's just, it's not for me. I mean, we say that a lot, but like, I understand that. This audio drama is for folk, and I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad people like it. Yeah. I'm glad you do like it. Hopefully it gets you to read the book. Yeah, read the book. But like, James McAvoy is not Morpheus. It's not doing it for me. Like there, I think the guy's an incredible actor, and I think that he probably has a passion for this and like really enjoyed doing it. And I got to tell you, like I don't like Gaiman's narration voice either. Yes. But that's just a personal preference, and so like it's gonna end up probably being a pass for me. Yeah. But I like the story and I've read it, so
Right. So, you love Sandman anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
So
it would be like if people were like, why don't you want a Pixar Calvin and Hobbes? It's like, I don't want to know what someone else thinks Hobbes sounds like.
No, it's true. It's true. It's just like when they made there's a video game I many of you know I'm obsessed with called Silent Hill 2, and they did an HD version of it. Like they took it, they like tried to clean it up, regardless of how that got messed up. They also redid all the voices.
Yes.
And it was like, listen, I understand that some folk think that the old voice acting is horrible, but like if that's what you're used to and that's what you love and you like some of the intent behind it, it's like, why?
Well, why didn't you just go make another game?
Yeah,
if you're gonna do that much.
So it's not for me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Kenneth Dowling, sup great people, recently bought trades X-Men Dark Phoenix Saga and Extinction Agenda. I know you're enjoying Hickman's run, but when it comes to X-Men, to me nothing beats the Claremont era. I hear what you're saying, and I don't disagree. Claremont's run is, second to none. I'm just enjoying Hickman's era. I have never said it's better than Claremont or Byrne or anybody's run. I personally had more fun reading Astonishing X-Men than I do Hickman's run.
Oh.
Like, I like Astonishing X-Men more. I just respect what Hickman's doing. I'm just impressed by the scope and the magnitude and the coordination and the effort.
Yeah.
Whedon telling a story about like a bunch of characters who are misfits all working together is nothing new, and it's like, it's a tried and true thing that sells.
Yeah.
I'm just genetically predisposed to digging that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm impressed by Hickman's effort. But no, I hear what you're saying. I don't blame you. The Amazing Amazo, these digital first books have been amazing. If you want a good one-shot about a favorite character for a reasonable price, 79 pence for me. They are perfect. Nice. I hear what you're saying. St. Lucia says, which Harley do you like more, White Knight or canon? White Knight. I don't consider comic book Harley to be canon because I don't want Harley in the universe. Like, for me, Harley Quinn is a cartoon character that exists in the animated series. I'm old enough where I remember when they put her in the comics.
Okay.
Like, I remember her appearing in the comics for the first time, and I'm like, this don't work. Like, my Joker doesn't have a sidekick, and if he does, he's using her, and she'll die last.
I like them both because of where she has come, and I think that she's an example of character growth from like the start of a character to where they've gone in a shorter amount of time than like the many decades that some of these characters have had and haven't changed all that much.
Right.
So like I respect her there. I do like the White Knight version of her because it's just a different incarnation.
Totally.
But I also like the Harleen version as well. You know what I mean? It's just, she's an interesting character, and I think she does belong in the DC universe. Mm-hmm. I just think that she's found a better place now.
Yes.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. No. Well, when she was first introduced and up until about like maybe a couple of years ago, she was floundering. And I love Amanda Connor's depiction of Harley, but I don't like the book. So like there's a lot of stuff that I do like. And honestly, I feel like Murphy nailed it when it came to the book, but mostly because he's like, I want to turn her into something else. And the whole book, White Knight and that Murphyverse, is a hodgepodge of everything he likes about Batman, as opposed to it being like a chapter in the ongoing and never-ending saga of Batman. It's over there, and it's its own thing that is a distillation of everything.
Right.
So it's like, of course you're going to use Harley, just like of course you're going to use Renee Montoya, and of course you're going to use Bullock, and you can use all these other characters. Like, you can kill Alfred or Gordon, and it won't cause a problem.
Right.
So yeah, that's the one I agree with you on that one. Brian Rowlands can't watch it live because of work, but can't wait to check it out later. I thought Secret Empire Captain America was fun and a classic Cap. I didn't read it. I don't read any of those. I couldn't be bothered. After I read Empire 3 and I was like, no more. And I saw Captain America sitting there and I'm like, I don't care what you're doing, Cap. I appreciate, though. I want to see it, but I'm not going to bother.
Right.
Duckcade says, hey guys, love the show. Thanks a lot, Duckcade. Picked up the first volume of Tomasi's Batman and Robin at my recommendation and was so hooked. Thanks so much. I'm so glad you dug it, man. Yeah, Tomasi knows that pairing, and Tomasi's Damian's the only one I'll stomach. So I'm glad you dug it, man. And I think we are caught up.
Nice.
So let's get into some recommendations for books that are coming out this week, unless you have any more books.
No, I don't.
All right, cool. Then we'll recommend some titles that are
You
coming
wanna
out.
go first?
Sure. I mean, Batman 96 is coming out. Joker War Part 2, which is really more like Part 9 because they've been hinting at it and referring to it and doing other stuff with that. But Batman 96 is coming out. I'm going to check that out, obviously. If you were intrigued in any way by my Fantastic Four 21 reference, 22 comes out. Again, I'll probably pick it up, but you know, I don't know. We'll see. Empyre 4 comes out, but I'm not going to waste my time. But most importantly, Dceased Dead Planet number 2 is coming out.
There you go.
So Dceased Dead Planet, the sequel, the official, formal, real, actual sequel to Dceased is coming out. And so I can't wait for that. I'm not necessarily interested, but I am intrigued by Phantom X is getting a book, Giant Size X-Men Phantom X. This should be the book that'll explain where Xavier came from.
Ah, okay.
So that's kind of neat. Also, it's Hickman and Ivan Rice, I think, is doing the art. So, like, holy crap. And I guess, you know, I'll leave it to you, because I think there's an X-Men tie-in that is the only Empyre book that I'll read now.
Well, you're going to be disappointed because it's written by different people with art by someone else.
Well, then I'm not reading it.
So is the next one after that.
Oh
and
my
then fourth
God.
will come back to Hickman.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
But it is written by Jerry Duggan, Empyre X-Men number 2. Not to be confused with X-Men number 10 Empyre tie-in.
Yes.
This is Empyre, X-Men number 2. It's going to be written by Jerry Duggan and Benjamin Percy and Leah Williams with art by Lucas Warnick. Or no, yeah, with art by Lucas Warnick. And I'm not super excited for it. Honestly, I'm still going to read it because clearly Hickman set down what the story is going to be.
Yep.
And my understanding is Hickman will come back by at least issue 4.
Which is the last one, I think?
Yeah.
So, okay.
So if you're expecting what you got with issue 1,
You probably won't.
you're not going to get that here. That said, Strange Adventures number 4. Strange Adventures number 4 is coming out. So, you know I'm picking that up. Doctor Strange number 6 is coming out as well. Sandman fans out there who are yelling at me that I am wrong about the audio drama, but it's just my taste.
Are they really?
No, I think people are just like...
I didn't see anybody give you a hard time.
No. I think just some folk are just like, yeah, but it's still well received. I get it's well received. I'm just not going to listen to it. That's
Right.
okay. I've got 12 other options I can do for this, because I could read the book, or I could listen to the audiobook, or I could wait till the live show comes out, because they're just going to beat this horse into the ground.
Yeah.
Anyway, The Dreaming is coming back with a G. Willow Wilson book called The Dreaming Waking Hours.
Okay.
I'm not saying I'm picking it up, but I just wanted you to be aware that that's there if you are looking for more since The Dreaming has ended.
Right.
So that's there. What did I just do here? Okay, no, we're good. We're fine. And I'm sure you're going to recommend this, but I'm going to take it from you because you always do it to me. Alien, the original screenplay, number 1 from Dark Horse.
I can't believe I thought it was canceled, and I will see if it comes out.
It's coming out this week.
Yeah, I hope it does. Because it was on the list of like all the books that were chopped.
Yeah, I like that Walt Simonson's got a variant cover for this.
Which I need to pick up.
Yeah, for sure.
I wonder how many issues this was going to be.
I like that because if you know anything about Walt Simonson, he did some of the comic work.
He did the original adaptation.
Yeah, and so like we've got like a big, amazing, oversized book of his work,
We do.
also signed by him.
Yeah.
So like that's a nice little nod.
That's true.
To him, which is very nice. So if you're an Alien fan, this might be something you want to have for yourself.
Yeah. I was also leafing through here and I found Avengers: The Wastelands number 4. I have no idea what this is, but like Norman Osborn versus the Avengers, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it looks like he's juggling them.
Yep, but to eat them?
Yeah.
So I don't know, but it looks insane. I don't know anything about this book. I heard nothing about it, so I'm kind of intrigued to check it out. Right. And there is a free, of course, it's free comic book year, month, whatever.
Yes.
Free comic book day 2020. There's a Tick free comic book day issue coming out.
There's a couple of other ones too. So like if you are able to go to your local comic book store, or even if you're doing curbside pickup, you could if you call them up, you could ask what they have, because they're getting things I think each month or each week. I'm not sure how it's working, because most of these are already printed. If not all of them were already printed, and their orders were already put in, so they're getting them. So you can still get a hold of these things. I would just either look up what's coming out each week, or give them a call and get them pulled for yourselves as well.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you heard me on that one. I'm trying to project.
Kenneth Dowling says, who's your favorite Spider-Man writer? Mine may be Tom DeFalco, since most of my favorite Spider-Man issues were written by him. Roger Stern wrote some good ones and created the Hobgoblin. I agree. I like Roger Stern. Tom DeFalco is hit or miss for me sometimes. But I like DeMatteis. I like Bendis, surprisingly enough. And I love Straczynski as well. So those are my top 3. Metzner says, first time catching you guys live and just showing some love. Thank you very much. I hope I said your name correctly, and welcome to the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
I saw that there's someone in the chat who's actually here because you did a live stream with
Toy Galaxy. Oh, thanks a lot.
Really cool.
Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for coming. Storm King, do you think this new direction for the X-Men will make it to the big screen since Kevin Feige's chief content officer? Hope you guys are well. Yeah, I don't think so, but I think we'll have allusions, references to it. Like, you know, the MCU doesn't really do the deep dives like as a like kind of Chekhov's gun kind of thing. It's more like they'll reference it because it's a thing. Like, I can imagine that someone will have like a plant named Krakoa, but I don't think it's going to be like a big thing.
Can you imagine though?
Oh,
like,
that's how they introduce the X-Men?
That's how they introduce the X-Men. They're just like, all of a sudden there's a blip and there's like just a new landmass.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, what the hell is this?
That would be nuts. I think.
And then Xavier just sends him a message out and it's like, hey,
we're in charge. We're your gods now.
We're back. You didn't know we were gone.
Right, but we're back.
But
now.
we're back.
That would be really cool. I would read that, or I would watch the shit out of that. I'd be like, what? My reaction to that in the theaters would be similar to the reaction at the end of Far From Home, where I yelled like a person, like a crazy person.
It was cute. It was adorable, and I had a great time.
I had such a weird experience with that. But yeah, man, that's it. We want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. We're very lucky to have you. If you want more, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications. We have lots of different videos that come out every week. And if you want to watch play video games, you can watch Tiffany on twitch.tv/ComicPopTV. At least go over there and hit it a follow so you get a notification for when she goes live, which is Tuesdays and Sundays. You are playing.
We legit might do another day. I'm so into this game that I wasn't gonna play.
Yeah.
I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima.
Yep.
Was so not gonna play this. It's open world. It's difficult combat. It's just such a beautiful game. I can't wait to go back.
Yeah.
I love this game so far. I've literally had one play session. It's just gonna get harder.
We should add like another day. That'd be cool.
I should do another day. I might. I seriously can't. I can't. I was like last night. I was like,
want to play some more.
Want to play more.
Well, thank you very much, everybody, for hanging out with us. And, of course, again, if you want to help us out, the best way to do so is to subscribe and like the video and be here and watch all of it if you can. Otherwise, if you want to catch this audio, you can catch it on every place you can find podcasts. We're under the Elseworlds Exchange because there's another show that we do live here. It costs like $100 to host 2 different shows, so we just lump it in with one. So if you've been sleeping on Elseworlds, this is the show over there too. So we get 2 uploads per week of Elseworlds Exchange. You get a full show and this. Speaking of Elseworlds Exchange, big pre-recorded episode coming out tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
You must check it out if you like seeing your favorite creators talk to each other for 2 hours. It's a lot of fun.
That's actually a really good plan too, considering the weather we're going to be having.
Yeah, I don't want to rely on the internet for that.
But I'll be relying on it tomorrow. So
yes.
It's going to be great. By the way, there's a super chat.
Oh, I'm sorry. Radical Radish saying just wanted to say hi, Sal. Hey, Sal and Tiff. Hey, Radical Ratch, haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back to the show, man.
Welcome.
And that's it. So thanks a lot, everybody, for hanging out. We'll see you guys next time with an all-new episode. And, of course, again, if you like this show and this show alone, we'll see you next week. If not, we'll see you tomorrow and the next day and the next day with more.
That's because we're watching you.
Yeah. No, we're just making more videos.
Oh, never mind.
That's right. All right. So long, everybody.
Bye.